when you break out of that pattern and start to really honor that alignment, wow. Life is just never the same. You are truly, you've got the wind at your back and you are riding the wave of good fortune. You are... Here's what I'm fascinated about. Our imagination is limited, much more on one side than the other. Our imagination is limited on how good it can be. But it can really run with how bad it can get.
Yeah. Catastrophizing is, it should be like an Olympic sport or something,
Yes.
because we all have people in our lives who are like
All these things
amazing.
could go wrong, and people are looking at me and they're thinking that. We're so good on that side, but shift your imagination. Start to open up to how good it could be.
How good it could be. And, well, a lot of that, how bad it could be, is really rooted in something that a lot of, it's really common, which is fear of death. So I'll just throw that out on the table. What do you do about that? Because all these, what if, it all boils down to, and then I die. It's like...
I'm pretty sure my heart and mind are aligned on staying alive.
Yeah, but that survival is such a part of us. So one aspect is just to look at that in yourself. It's I've got the fear of death, and so do lots of people. Fear of death and fear of public speaking. So, but how do you free yourself of fear of death? How can you just get where you can move forward and you're like, well, if I die, I die?
Well, here's the thing I have accepted for myself with fear, because I've really had a commitment to allow my emotions to be there, right? And to allow fear to be present. I don't squash it and pretend it's not there anymore. I allow it to be there, but my commitment is that it not be the determining factor in my choices and how I behave and what I do and what I pursue. So acknowledge that it's there, just exercise that right side of the brain, that other side that says, what's possible, the positive side as well.
So what I'm hearing you say is don't let it be the determining factor. Okay, yeah, maybe I have some fear here, but am I being run by the fear? Is that what's causing me to choose what's behind door number 3? Is because I think somehow that's going to be safer, or I'm going to be avoiding something I'm afraid of. And because there is that, if you've noticed, when you make decisions based in fear, they don't work out that well. You just get more things to be afraid of. It just perpetuates the fear.
Yeah, so my story on that is around being sick, and I don't want to, this isn't always the case, so I don't want to put my experience on everyone. But I will speak for myself that the medical profession, when you're dealing with a very serious illness, tends to be cautious and protect itself from lawsuits and things like that by really telling you have to make your decisions by fear. That the likelihood of this, and if you don't do this, but your soul, your heart, and your mind know what you need. And I appreciate so much of the medicine that's there that takes care of us. And if and when your heart and mind aren't aligned on that doctor, it's okay, again, to use your temper or use your boundaries and say, thank you, you're not my doctor, right? And move and find what works. It's an important area to use that alignment and not allow fear to be the determining factor. Yeah. Especially that fear of death.
Yeah. So how did you, but that's fascinating. You were diagnosed with cancer.
Yes.
And you were told that you had to do this radiation chemo.
Right. So, and the first thing they told me was that I would have to do 35 rounds of radiation and 7 weekly chemotherapy sessions. And my first response was an F word to a young, sweet intern. I'm sorry, but it's just, that's what I did. He was a medical student, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This isn't that big a deal. And the thing about it was, yes, it was detected early, and I had no other symptoms, right? So it wasn't hurting me. It wasn't bothering me. It was so tempting just to pretend it wasn't happening. But if you let those things go on, they will get to where they do have an effect. But I listened to my heart, I listened to my soul, and I wanted to pursue alternative healing. And so I took about 6 months looking at other things that I could do, from vegetarian, eating vegetarian, limiting my sugar, looking at things like that. And the mass that I had did not shrink. It didn't grow at the rate they expected it to, so I do believe that had some impact. So at some point I had to look and see, I wanted it to shrink. I wanted to get rid of it. So I did make an educated decision, and it's okay to go and talk to your doctor and ask questions. And I made an educated decision that I didn't want to do chemotherapy, but I would do the radiation. Less than halfway through the radiation, when I saw the effect that it was having on my body, I think if I had continued with the radiation, it would have killed me or caused something to kill me. I felt that way. And so I didn't feel empowered or confident in the medical procedures that we were doing. I did half of it. I then pursued other alternative things with plant medicine. I don't think plant medicine cures cancer, but I think I do, right? I think I can. I think we have the power to heal and manage our bodies and our health. We just have to get access to that kind of a connection, that alignment with our heart, and our soul. So I did that. I'm cancer-free, and it was just the best journey of my life. I went through that, and I've learned so much and connected. But it's a boundary. It's something you want to be mindful of. And the one biggest lesson I will tell everyone here is you don't have to let fear run your life. You don't have to let it be the basis of your decisions.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. And how do you think, like, when you did feel that heart and mind coordination, did you feel free from fear with that coordination, or do you think the fear was?
I wasn't free from fear, but I was free from the control of fear. Right? So
Beautiful.
fear wasn't controlling me, but I wasn't free from fear. I was still very afraid. And by the way, I didn't tell my kids. I told my mom because I was staying with her, but I didn't tell my friends because all of them just wanted me to be okay. And they had fear. And every doctor that I said I was going to stop had fear and concern. And so it takes guts, takes courage to do that and take that stand. But like I said, when you are in that alignment and you've got that inner confidence, you can do it. You can do it. And it's just a matter of not letting fear control you or the decision.
So I would say, think of a time that you knew that you were in coordination. Like, you really had that sense of, like, I'm all in. Like, my heart is really in it. And I'm, like, percolating all these great ideas to, like, support that. It's kind of like, you can kind of see it's like the masculine and the feminine. Like, the thought forms are like the masculine side of us. And that's feeding ideas to the heart. It's like, and the heart lights up, and then it just creates a really beautiful harmony between getting the great ideas and then being lit up by them and taking action. And when we have that, there is that feeling of kind of the wind is at our back, like we're getting a little bit of support from the universe, or like literally, like the elements are supporting us, and we're being propelled like downstream. And we know what that feels like that feeling of like, in the flow. Things are coming together. I'm having these really empowering conversations, and the wheels are turning. It's like you can kind of feel like your life is moving forward.
Here's what's really cool about that. The lowest, most challenging times of your life get you there. Because at some point you've got to just break loose of banging your head against the wall. And like we started out with, doing the same thing over and over. And when you break out of that pattern and start to really honor that alignment, wow. Life is just never the same. You've got the wind at your back, and you are riding the wave of good fortune. You are experiencing this next level of effectiveness, of happiness and peace.
And it's never too late. That's the thing. Every day we get a new shot at it, every day. So however, I remember even thinking, like, in high school, I missed the boat. I mean, now that seems really funny, but it's like sometimes, you know, you may be in your mid-20s and think, oh, somehow life has passed me by because I've been like farting around for a while with this, like, you know, one dead-end relationship or dead-end job after the next. But it's never too late. It's like everything that we've done is actually getting us ready for what's next. It all can be used. It's never too late to look for a way to, like, well, how do I even start? Like, if you feel like you aren't there yet, how do you start? How can you tune in? Because it's usually the heart that we've abandoned. How do we tune in if we feel like our heart, we haven't been connected to our heart?
Well, the cool thing is, God, the universe, source will find a way. You know, and if it requires for you to, you know, get sick or lose your job or something like that, look at those as opportunities to really question what you're doing. The second thing is, and we started with this, do something different.
Yes.
Do something different, anything.
Anything.
And a really good way to hear your heart once it's been numbed and stuff like that is just to be still. Take some time out of the rat race, out of your current patterns, out of your current habits. Go away, take some time, and just be still. And my experience is that when my heart does communicate, it's not the way I expected. It isn't answering to my logic and my reason. I'm like, tell me. My heart doesn't speak to my head. It's a different way. It comes to me differently.
Can you describe it?
It's an intuitive thing. I can't. I get an overall idea that is fully formed and that I can then explore, but it isn't a linear brick by brick notion. It's an intuitive dawning upon me, if I were going to explain it. That's my experience. How about you? Same?
Well, I guess it's like, I'm thinking of a specific time, like when I moved to Texas a year ago. I just knew that it was time. It was time. I just felt like it wasn't time. I was a big no to the move. No. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I feel like there was a big yes. Why yes? You know, it's like my heart said yes and my mind was there too. Like, yes, I'm going to do. And it was really like I didn't need to go take a survey to see who was in agreement that it was a good idea. You know, I didn't you know, we all have a peanut gallery in our life and they like to weigh in on things. But that, you know, in this case, I didn't talk to anybody, you know, until it was a done deal because it was irrelevant because I knew that it was the right thing.
Yeah, so two things about that. Number one, the mind thinks, the heart knows. So look for that knowing, right? I know. And number two, if this thing that you're aligned on with your heart and mind solve a problem, that might not be it, right? Because you moving to Texas wasn't to solve a problem.
No, it wasn't to solve a problem. No.
And so a lot of times how many of you have truly believed that your heart and soul have told you to go buy a lottery ticket? Right? My heart wants me to go win $4 million just so I can get rid of all of this stress and this. No, it's not. Your heart doesn't say we've got a problem to solve. Your heart says we've got things to do, places to go, the places you'll go. It's inspired. So look for those things. Number one, the heart knows. And number two, if you're seeing something that you're trying and you're in action, and you've got your vision board, and you've got this, and it's to solve a problem, and you're not making progress, step back and be still and listen to your heart and see what comes up. Something new.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, what else do you want to say about heart and mind coordination?
I just want to, end where we started. It truly is, when we talk about riding the wave of good fortune, it's a real place. It's a real thing, and it's happy. And your access to it is that alignment.
Yeah, and another, let me add, about riding the wave. Every wave will end. Like, that's the nature of a wave. If you've ever surfed or taken a couple surf lessons, it's like there's always a new wave. And when you do catch a wave, it's exhilarating, and then it ends. And then what?
You swim out.
You swim out and catch another one. But then you don't go, boo-hoo, my wave's over, and I thought this was going to be the wave that was like going to take me home forever, you know. No wave does. It's like, so actually what you get good at when you start riding waves is you get good at jumping off the wave before it, you know, before it crashes into the
and going and catching the next one.
And going and catching the next one.
Yeah.
So there's less mourning, and, you know, there's sometimes we do mourn when we had a particularly wonderful wave that would seem to be like it for us, but there's always a new wave. Like there's never an end to the waves that are coming for you.
So be still, align your heart and mind, and enjoy riding the wave of good fortune.